Yo, what's up guys? I'm here with another video. This one will be about a top lane pick that I've been enjoying a lot lately. If you're like me and you don't like top lane and maybe you queue like top secondary or you just get occasionally autofilled as top lane, this pick is like perfect. You play it and it's like you're not even playing top. It feels like a whole different lane. The pick that I'm talking about is Vayne top lane. We all know how good like ranged top laners are into melee champions or just ranged tops in general, which is why Akshan and Quinn have been sitting at like a high win rate for top for a while now. But every time I've got filled top lane or I got my secondary role as I queue for mid and top, I just lock in Vayne, and most of the time, no matter who I play versus, it just feels like I'm borderline cheating. By no means am I like a good top laner. I do think I'm pretty good with like mechanics and kiting, which is what you need for Vayne. But in this game in the background, this Yone is I think Diamond 2. So he is not bad by any means, right? He's pretty good at the game, that's pretty above average. But he did not get to play the game at all. I think he ended the game with 2000 damage. 2000 damage is what he did in the entire game. The Janna and the Bard on both sides out-damaged the Yone top. And you can't even blame him. If you look at the laning phase, there's just not much he could have done. I'm just constantly bullying him. I'm trying to zone him off farm. When he walks up for farm, I just take his health. Later on, I just ghost and run him down, and he's just kind of dead. He does not out-damage, he does not outrange, there's just not much he can do. I'm just sitting there with a ranged advantage. I absolutely demolish tanks. There's also quite a few builds you can do on Vayne. You can go for like a board on hit build, which just shreds the tanks and is more like an extended fight, lethal tempo, get your rage blade up, destroy everything build. And there's also a more, which I like more, it's like a more fun build, which I kind of consider like a move speed build. And let me show you that move speed build in action real quick with this short clip from the game. This Yone flash ults away from me and I just press Ghost R and he is dead anyway. He flashed R'd away and I still end up killing him. He just has no chance to run away. This build was recently used by T1 Zeus in the T1 versus HLE in I think LCK, and the move speed he had was just insane. He was just zooming around with Ghost, and that's kind of how you play this build. Specifically, it's more about like kiting and the move speed advantage you have compared to your opponents. And the whole build and runes are built around that strat. If you take a look at the runes he took is Fleet Footwork, Overheal, Alacrity, Cut Down, and then Sorcery for Nimbus Cloak and Celerity. Fleet Footwork is kind of key because you are going for like an energized attack build with Stormrazor and Rapid Fire Cannon. And they also obviously give you move speed. Celerity is really good because it just synergizes well with the Vayne passive, which is increased move speed. The R, the ultimate ability from Vayne, increases your passive move speed. And all of this is increased with Celerity. He also took Nimbus Cloak and Ghost, which if you don't know what that does, when you press your Ghost you get an extra increased like burst move speed. And when you flash as well, but it is more important with Ghost. It also lets you walk through units, so walk through minions, which could be pretty handy, I guess. And then the build he went for, he started off with finishing his boots first, which is pretty good on Vayne because obviously you're kiting around a lot, so the tier 2 boots early and the attack speed you get from it is pretty good against pretty much any champion. He then went Stormrazor, which is also a really good item. Stormrazor has crit, AD, attack speed, and then the passive, which gives your energized attacks bonus magic damage and move speed, so again more move speed. After Stormrazor he went Trinity Force, which is also just a really good item on Vayne, as every Q auto you do, you can just proc the Spellblade. So that is really nice for just poking and doing like short trades as well if you're not committing to an all-in yet. You just Q forward, hit him with a fat like Spellblade auto attack, energized attack with Stormrazor and your Fleet Footwork. But if you didn't know, Trinity Force has a quickened passive, so your basic attacks will now also grant you move speed. After Trinity Force he goes Rapid Fire Cannon, which is another energized attack item which gives you attack speed, AD and crit, and of course move speed. This item goes really well with Triforce and Vayne in general because you just get the increased range for a little bit and then you can again hit him with like the Q Spellblade auto attack for a bunch of damage, and you don't even have to like overcommit too much to just proc like one auto attack with this. In a weird way, it's kind of like an offensive and a defensive item as you have more range, but are also doing damage to them more easily. After Rapid Fire, he went for Infinity Edge, which is just a really solid item. With this build, you have 2 crit items so far, and IE is probably like the biggest damage spike item you could get here if you're going for this build. And by the time he finished IE, this game was already pretty much over. He did not build another item. So that is pretty much the like move speed Vayne build, where you just get a bunch of move speed, you're energized attacking them constantly, and you're just like a race car as soon as you press your Ghost. You can also just opt into the like Bork build where you go on hit. I think that's slightly better into tanks because of just the Bork passive and the on hit damage that you get from it, but you do not have the same move speed and like kite ability that you would have with the other build. The other build just feels more fun. But Bork Vayne does feel pretty strong as well. It's pretty strong in lane, it's a pretty good like first item spike, probably a bigger spike than Stormrazor is, but the movespeed build is just a lot more fun. So that's the build and that's the runes, but how do you actually play the lane? How do you play Vayne? It's pretty straightforward. As you can see in this lane, if you're ranged versus melee, you want to be bullying your opponent. He cannot hit you ranged, so you want to be hitting him with your ranged, which is what I've been doing in most of these Yone clips. Every time he walks up for CS, I am hitting him, and if he doesn't walk up for CS, I am going for plates. If you can, of course, go for 3 autos, as the Vayne W requires you to hit the enemy 3 times for like a big damage bonus for the W proc. But if you can't go for that, just go for an auto and a Q auto, and then go back to going for plates or just farming your minions. You kind of have to find like a mix and match between farming your own minions and bullying the enemy laner, but your major goal is denying him the gold. And if he does try to get the gold, is to take his health bar. He's either going to be forced to leave, or he's going to be down a bunch of gold, or he might even greed for the minions anyway, and then you might just end up killing him, or just be able to dive him with your jungler, or even on your own. Either way, if you're on the other side here, and if you are the Yone, you will have a horrible experience. It's really rough. You're just sitting there, pretty much praying that someone helps you out, I guess. That was pretty much it for this video. I do have some small tiny tips just at the end that I kind of wanted to include into the video. But if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. I would appreciate it. So for the tips, if you can only get 1 auto off on Vayne in a trade, obviously always queue, so you can get the Lichbane proc and then auto for the max damage. If you can go for 2 autos in a trade, always auto and then queue for like fast 2 autos. Queue will reset your auto, so you just auto, and as soon as after you've autoed, you queue for another auto. Keep in mind that your E can also proc W, so if someone is 1 HP, but you can't get enough time in for the last auto, so let's say you do this, and now he's gonna flash away, you could always just E at the end for the E condemn damage plus a W proc. And as a last tip, you can E flash on Vayne. It kind of takes away a bit of reaction time from the enemy, also they might not expect it. So you just press E, and then you flash opposite side of which way you want to like condemn them. So I want to condemn this dummy into the wall, so I'm gonna flash to this side, so like that, and it might take like a little bit of reaction time away from them, because if you flash first, they might just flash as well. So yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.